If I'm being completely honest, I was quite pessimistic about Liam Delap's chances of coming back so soon. I genuinely thought we probably wouldn't see much of him until the new year, but Maresca has come out and said it, that he's training with the team and is in contention to play the League Cup game against Wolves. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And that means good news for a change. For a change, it's been a tumultuous season so far, hasn't it? Just in terms of news, like the results are starting to pick up. But the back and forth between players being available, not being available, being injured, having one foot out the door, not knowing who's going to be in the team week on week, really struggling to build consistency. It does start to feel like, tentatively, I might add, that things are starting to take a turn for the better, right? But guys, before we fully get into the content today, if you are enjoying it and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. And we'll start with the big news today. So, Enzo Maresca did his press conference this morning pertaining to tomorrow's game against Sunderland in the Premier League. And the big news of that was Liam Delap is back in training. The relief. The relief is palpable, my friends. The relief is absolutely palpable. So this is good news for loads of reasons, right? You know, João Pedro just needs some support. He needs a break. Mark Hughes only just started getting chances. Do you know what I mean? So we've gone all of this time without Liam Delap, and João Pedro has just been playing game after game after game after game after game. And truth be told, based on his performance in a lot of these games, he probably would have been not dropped, but he probably would have been rotated with Liam Delap a lot more than he has been. Do you know what I mean? He didn't score for 9 games in a row. Do you know what I mean? And only in the last game when we dropped him back into the 10 did he start to look a little bit back to himself. We can all talk about why that is stylistically. He plays really well as a number 9 when Cole Palmer's there, for instance, because Cole Palmer really likes to get forward, and that supplements for João Pedro liking to drop back so much. But having Liam Delap available is just going to be huge, especially with Cole Palmer being out for the next 6 weeks. Now, don't get me wrong, like if I'm being completely honest, I was quite pessimistic about Liam Delap's chances of coming back so soon. I genuinely thought we probably wouldn't see much of him until the new year, but Maresca has come out and said it, that he's training with the team and is in contention to play the League Cup game against Wolves. Will he start? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? It'll probably be Mark Hughes getting the starts for the next couple of games, because, you know, what we absolutely can't do is run in and throw him straight back into the team and, you know, give him 90 minutes game after game after game, because it's a hamstring injury and, you know, we've got to be careful with that. He's got to be looked after. Interestingly, Maresca also, just pertaining to injuries while we're on the injury subject, Maresca also talks a little bit about Romeo Lavia and how Romeo Lavia is going to be treated like Reece James was. And what that essentially means, I think, is you're pretty much not going to see Romeo Lavia play 2 games back to back. Even if he does, it won't be 90 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And he's probably not going to do 90 minutes very often. Like, it felt a bit weird the other day in the Ajax game, for instance. He got taken off for Reggie Walsh. Reggie Walsh, not a particularly deep-lying number 6 type player. So Andre Santos was left to kind of fill in that role. But, you know, with Romeo Lavia, we are probably going to see a bit more of, like, 60 minutes here, 60 minutes there, 20 minutes off the bench there, probably won't play too many games in a row. And, you know, it took Reece James a season of that to be able to be starting to be considered again for, like, you know, consecutive amounts of games. So yes, while it's good to see Romeo Lavia back, we can't pin our hopes on seeing him game after game after game. But, you know, Enzo Fernandez is back and healthy as far as we can see now, so that's okay. So yeah, man, Liam Delap's not going to play against Sunderland tomorrow. Absolutely not. He, you know, if he comes back for the Wolves game in the League Cup, I don't even think he'll start that game, to be honest. I think that'll probably be Mark Hughes again, if not João Pedro, depending on, I expect both of them to play the Sunderland game. But yeah, you know, very much like how it was with Reece James, how it is currently with Romeo Lavia, even with Liam Delap training and whatever, we're probably going to wrap him in a reasonable amount of cotton wool for the coming months, and then maybe we'll look at him in January and see if we can start putting him back into games again. And ultimately, that might all change again when Cole Palmer comes back. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, to have the options there is really, really exciting, isn't it? It's really, really exciting. So, other good news: no big injury worries for for the Sunderland game, man. Like, everyone seems to be getting on as well as can be expected. Dario Sugo still out. Levi Colwill still out. Pretty much everyone else seems to be okay, healthy-ish, because that's all we can hope for as Chelsea fans, that our players are healthy-ish. And it just seems like we're finally, after all this time, we are finally starting to get back to that level of, okay, we can actually select players for games based on tactics and, you know what I mean, who we need for what position, rather than just, well, we've got no centre-back, so we'll put 4 full-backs on, or, well, we've got no striker, so Tyreek George, up you go up front. And do you know what? I kind of hope Tyreek George gets a few opportunities in the wing. If you watched any of my last videos, you might see I was waxing lyrical about the young man's abilities when he actually gets played on the wing instead of as a striker. So let's move into my predicted lineup for the Sunderland game tomorrow. Only notable omission will be Malagusto, because he got sent off right at the end of the Nottingham Forest game. But also, we've just gotten through an entire game of football against Ajax without getting anyone sent off. So maybe that's all in the past now too. But either way, guys, let's move on to the lineup. All right, cool. So we'll start with goalkeeper. We always start with goalkeeper, and we always say Robert Sanchez. Now, I was very surprised to see Philip Jorgensen in goal for the Ajax game, but in retrospect, kind of makes sense. Good to give everyone a rest. Ajax turned out really not to be probably the easiest game we've had this season, to be honest, which was a surprise. I didn't expect Ajax to be easier than Lincoln, but that's absolutely what happened. So yeah, Robert Sanchez, he's had a rest. He's made no huge bozo moments recently. He'll probably get the starting goal. Right back, Reece James, I can only assume, purely based on the fact that Malagusto not available, and Reece James is, he didn't actually play in the Ajax game at all. Do you know what I mean? He was fully rested, so it would totally make sense for him to start this game. And that's always a good thing, isn't it? We love Reece James. We love to see our captain on the pitch doing wonderful things. And, that's always a chance when Reece James is on. I haven't seen him score a free kick in a while. I would like to see him do that. Left back, Marc Cucurella. Marc Cucurella also rested in the last game. Yoro Hato given a shot, and it's good. Look at all these players that we're giving rest to. This is fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely love it. Marc Cucurella will probably be given a bit more of an aggressive role with Reece James taking the right centre back of the back three, but playing a bit of right back in defence or whatever. And yeah, I would imagine that Marc Cucurella in this game will be given license to push forward, maybe not into his favoured number 10 position from left back, which he really likes playing, but at least getting into midfield and kind of stacking things up there. Centre back partnership, I'll do both at the same time. It's the same as I went with last time, but it just makes sense to me. I want to see Trevor Chalobah and Josh Achiampong. Both of those players were brought on in the Ajax game. Both of them started against Nottingham Forest, played really, really, really well, and we need to start building consistency, don't we? That is so important. And they're just the best partnership, I think, at this point. Tosin started and played the last game, had a bit of a wobble. Do you know what I mean? A couple of people, I was doing a live stream at the time, a couple of people were calling for him to come off at half time. And yeah, for me, it's just got to be Chalobah and Achiampong. Achiampong does this thing that I absolutely love to watch, where he picks up the ball from centre back and just like sprints into the midfield and starts attacks. That's absolutely awesome. Trevor Chalobah, our most consistent defender of this season so far. So that seems like the easiest way to go. And despite Josh still only being 19, for me, that feels like a really solid backline, man. We've got two of the best fullbacks in world football at the helm. Trevor Chalobah, really, really consistent. Josh Achiampong with a lot of support around him to, kind of cover for the fact that he's a little bit younger and give him opportunities to do stuff like I say, run it into midfield, which we absolutely love to see. Josh has just been playing out of his skin recently as well. And it does feel like this could be the push into the first team that he's making right now. Okay, so the double pivot in midfield. It's Moises Caicedo. I am a self-proclaimed Moy boy. I'll give credit to Lewis from FFB for that one because he came up with the term and I absolutely love it. Moises Caicedo is unbelievable. Best midfielder in the Premier League. Fight me if you disagree. Up there with the best midfielders in the world, man. He's still so young. He's not even 24 yet, I don't think. And he is just adding things to his game all of the time. The goals, man, literally, it's so crazy. I mean, maybe without, he had like the likes of Romeo Lavia aside him when he scored that goal. So maybe that's going to be more likely when he's got another deep sitting midfielder and not Enzo Fernandez, who's going to be more kind of running into attacking positions. But at the same time, just the fact that every now and again he picks up the ball and everyone around him just goes, shoot. And he's like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And 4 goals this season so far, man. I think that might already be more than he scored last season, if not matching it. And he is just on fire, man. So Moises Caicedo, Caicedo got to be in. And to partner him, we'll go with Enzo Fernandez today. Enzo Fernandez didn't get the break that I thought he was going to. I'm quite surprised that he got started in the Ajax game, actually. And to be fair, all of it, we had like 3-man midfield, and that's not including the centre attacker. So, bit of a strange one there. But at the end of the day, he seems fit and back and available as much as he can. I feel like we haven't had Enzo Fernandez at 100% for a while, and I feel like we've only had him at 100% for quite a short time since he's been at Chelsea. But even not at 100%, the thing you can't denigrate with Enzo Fernandez is his ability to get goals and assists, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I prefer the way our midfield looks with Romeo Lavia in there. I've said that many, many times before, but Enzo Fernandez is a great player, man, and a really important part of the team's culture at the moment as well. Big character, big personality, absolutely class move giving Esteval Willian the penalty the other day. And you just love to see it, don't you? You just love to see it. He's proper Chelsea, and we really like that. So yeah, it makes sense to me with a bit more of a solid backline than we started with against Ajax. The likes of Reece James, Marco Correa. Moises Caicedo can probably handle that 6 role on his own for the most part, and Enzo Fernandez can probably be expected to be getting forward quite a lot. Right, the attacking three. I have wrestled with the attacking three this time. I know what I want to see, and I knew what I thought we were going to see before I saw the lineup for the Ajax game. But I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm going to put out the 3 that I want to see, not the 3 that I actually think will probably get chosen. So on the left, Pedro Neto. Got the rest for the last game. Brilliant. Love that. Do you know what I mean? Pedro Neto's played almost every game for us. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. And the man is an absolute machine. So it's really good for him to be getting a rest. And hopefully that just means he is fit, firing and feeling good to be able to, make something happen. In what is going to be quite a tough game, by the way. I haven't actually mentioned this yet, but I don't expect Sunderland to be a walkover because they're on the same points tally as us at the moment. Do you know what I mean? They're kind of technically fighting for the same spot we are as of right now. Either way, it is Sunderland, recently promoted team, and Pedro Neto is going to be a really important part of making sure that the machine runs well, right? On the right wing, I'm going to go with Esteval Willian because he's just getting there, man, isn't he? He's just getting there. Now, the thing is, this is a little bit hypocritical of me because I do always talk about we're probably not going to see him game after game, but I just think he deserves it after that Ajax game, man. He played out of his absolute skin. Yes, he did only score the penalty, but he was this close to scoring so many times. And without Cole Palmer, he is just looking like that spark of magic that we need. I don't really need to say more than that, man. Esteval has been on the tip of everybody's tongue for the recent days, especially since the Ajax game. Breaking records, youngest goal scorer for Chelsea ever in the Champions League. He ripped that record away from Mark Gue mere minutes after he got it, which is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it just feels like for me, and again, my initial rumbling in my head is Garnacho will probably get the start on the left and Pedro Neto will play on the right. Pedro Neto is definitely going to play one way or the other if fit, which, you never know. He seems to be, but something crazy could happen before the game tomorrow. But either way, after that performance, man, and after, he just needs to, while he's in form, he needs to start having a go. Do you know what I mean? Also, the thing is, Esteval was part of a very, very young, inexperienced attacking line for the most part against Ajax. But with a few more experienced players around him, that'll give him a bit more support and potentially help pull the defence apart a bit to create more spaces for Esteval to come in and do something special. So it does make sense to me to give him a shot, not just in like the B attack. Like, when we've got some of our heavy hitters on, I want to see Esteval getting a shot as well. Moving into the centre of attack, and I'm going to say João Pedro, and this just makes sense, doesn't it? Because without Cole Palmer here, João Pedro missed the Ajax game through suspension, but ultimately got a game of rest. Okay, cool. And when João Pedro dropped into the 10 for the Nottingham Forest game, instantly he looked better and we looked better. Without Cole Palmer, João Pedro is absolutely the next most obvious choice for the number 10, and especially with who I'm going to put up front in Mark Gue, it's just an actual partnership that makes sense, right? Because when you've got Cole Palmer and João Pedro plays up front and likes to drop deep. Cole Palmer plays in the centre but likes to get forward. So there's always someone in that spot, right? And when you've got Mark Gue up top who likes to stay up top and press, and you've got João Pedro who likes to start from deep and occasionally make his way forward, that just makes sense too. The problem we've had is playing João Pedro up top without a Cole Palmer behind him. He drops deep and then all of a sudden you've got no one up top. Do you know what I mean? So it's just not really been making sense. So for me, having a Mark Gue up top, got his goal against Ajax, has been playing well, training well. Interestingly, Maresca did talk a little bit about why Mark Gue hasn't been playing. This, who knows if this is actually the case or not, but ultimately what he said was Mark Yu wasn't training well, didn't like the way he was training. We had a conversation about 2 weeks ago, and then Mark Yu has sorted his life out and started training well. So that's why Maresca is now starting to give him opportunities. And it just makes sense, man. It just makes sense. Like I say, Mark Yu might not be, the best marksman out of any of the strikers we've got, or, even close to being one of the best players in the Premier League. But at the end of the day, what he offers is that relentless pressing energy and pulling apart defences, man, which will allow your Estevals and your João Pedros to work their magic. Do you know what I mean? So it's not even as much about putting Mark Yu up top because you think he's going to score goals, which he can do, but that's not necessarily the reason. Compared to someone like a Tyreek George or even a João Pedro, he occupies defences and is a real nuisance for him. Do you know what I mean? So for the alchemy of the team, right, for the connectivity and the chemistry, putting Mark Yu up top and João Pedro in the middle feels like our best option at the moment. When Liam Delap's back and fit and firing, Liam Delap is probably over Mark Yu in that respect because they're similar players. Liam Delap's a bit more of a bully, but has also got more of an eye for goal, right? Maybe not quite as relentless as a presser as Mark Yu is, but he's got his own way of being a nuisance. But for the time being, until Liam Delap is back and ready, and while Cole Palmer's out, Mark Yu up top and João Pedro in the centre just makes sense to me. So guys, that is it. That is my lineup for tomorrow's game against Sunderland. I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually just starting to look forward to all of the games again. Yay! It's been a tough season so far, hasn't it? But I think one really good thing to look at in isolation, right, is, for the last couple of seasons, even without Cole Palmer being on form, like last season when he was in the team, do you know what I mean? And the season before that, obviously when he was absolutely smashing it, without Cole Palmer, we've looked a bit devoid of ideas and we've looked a bit like we haven't got anyone else who can take the mantle or the responsibility. But all of a sudden this season, I've got to give it to the directors, man. The players that we've bought, they can do the job and they have been doing the job. Do you know what I mean? We are looking at, if we win tomorrow against Sunderland, that's 5 wins on the bounce. That is amazing. If we win against Sunderland and we get a draw against Tottenham, we're at exactly the same point as we were last season. Same point as we were last season, all 1 point better off. And if we win the next 2 games, that's 6 games on the bounce, and we're better than we were doing last season. And that has largely got to be attributed to players like Esteval coming in, João Pedro, Liam Delap, obviously when he's available and stuff, do you know what I mean? But just having players, as well as the players that we've already bought, developing and turning into their better selves, also having players that can handle big games, big moments, and lots of pressure without Cole Palmer being there. Because what we need is for when Cole Palmer comes back is for him to be able to come into a team that can play without him, and he can just add on top of that. We need to not be, we're rubbish without Cole Palmer. Do you know what I mean? Cole Palmer FC or whatever. And it really looks like we're getting there, man. No joke, man. Beating Liverpool was obviously absolutely massive, and Esteval really, really started to show his stuff there. 2 Champions League wins, and, Nottingham Forest obviously not doing amazingly well, but it was still a hard-fought win anyway. So the wins have been good, man, and we've done it all without Cole Palmer. That's really, really, really important to me, because last year, when Cole Palmer went off form, was in and around this time, maybe more December, that's when we started dropping off. Do you know what I mean? Our drop-off in form coincided with Cole Palmer's drop-off in form, and that's not happening now. So awesome. Love that. Let's go and smash Sunderland, get ourselves another 3 points, and on the way to 10 games in the Premier League, being better than we were last season, and 6 games on the bounce so we can beat Tottenham, man. Absolutely buzzing for it. Nice one, guys. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did, I hope you're all having an absolutely wicked day. Catch up with us tomorrow night if you're one of the guys that watches the Blue Lounge. I think we're streaming tomorrow night. We're going to start trying to do match days, right? So the match will be on tomorrow. I'm not doing like a watch along or anything for it, but I will be streaming with Mo, probably Kai, Nizion, hopefully Worldwide Chelsea, Lewis from FFB. We should all be there, hopefully, tomorrow night on the Blue Lounge. Nice one, guys. I hope you had an absolutely wicked day. Take it easy. Peace.